fun.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Just...
Hello everybody and welcome to our next segment of Kingpins 24. I'm here with Viapiana, the denim tailor, who happens to be in Toronto where I live, so I'm fortunate enough to be in his studio right now we're going to give you a little tour. So,
come on in. So, this is kind of my domain back here. Awesome. And I fill it with as many machines as I can. Probably too many, but that's my addiction. And yeah, I have fun down here.
A lot of fun, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What are some of your favorite machines you could walk us through?
So, well, it's hard to choose.
Yeah.
I like the ones I really like to use are the felling machines. And so these ones, I mean, they don't look like your normal sewing machine. You got to kind of sit behind it and hug it when you use it.
Cool.
They're a staple in the denim industry.
Okay.
And I have like the newer versions as well as the really older versions over there.
And which do you prefer?
I mean, older's kind of nice, you know, but you got to pick and choose what you use where, you know, so that it matches also the garment. Yeah. And there's other machines like this waistbanding machine.
Okay.
Which, you know, it's exciting to look at and use, right?
Cool. It looks pretty intense, to be honest, with all.
For sure. And the motor, it sounds even crazier. You want to hear it?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. But once it gets going, right?
Wow.
Nice and clean, right?
It sounds very clean. Honestly, when you first turned it on, I thought it was going to sound like that for the whole time, but it was like...
Yeah, no, I can deal with that. But yeah, it works well, and this one is set up for doing either like 2 rows of chain stitching,
okay, or
I can actually do 3 rows of chain stitching.
Wow.
On the size of folder that I'm using.
Interesting. So you can get some pretty interesting looks with that.
Yeah. So each one is specific to their job, like, you know, and I have this waistbanding machine that I use for those sort of reasons, and then I have another waistbanding machine that I use for the classic sort of the single chain stitch look. Okay. And that one kind of stays in that function.
Okay.
Similar to that waistband machine, that style of machine is called the 50,000 series.
Okay.
And it's one of Union Special's like their go-to like sort of shape and class. So there's hundreds of machines in this sort of class that do every sort of little thing, little detail, from single needle or double needle, and there's another double needle, but they're sort of spaced differently. Yeah. So use one for shirts, one for jeans, stuff like that.
Very cool. And you were mentioning that you have all of the threads that are basically repros, so if you wanted to kind of recreate a vintage looking piece, you could do so too? For sure,
yeah. So I have some thread from Japan on the top row up there, and that's the sort of the thread that is specific to, you know, 501's earlier days, like in the 50s or so. And then I have a bunch of other threads that you can use as well. And if I don't have the color that you want, I can probably order it in. Most brands, they're lucky to have like a buttonhole machine. Okay. I have 3, just cause, you know. Yeah. And each
you like to collect them.
Exactly. And each of them do something like slightly different, you know. Where this is a Singer 99W. Okay. And this one will do a cut first buttonhole, so it'll actually cut the garment and then stitch it. It gives a very, very clean fit.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, some scissors.
Very clean. Wow. Looks beautiful. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That was very awesome. Thanks for demonstrating that for us.
No problem.
So tell us some of how the process of how you've made these. Like, are you looking at some of the vintage pieces you have in your collection that pop up in some of the details in your pieces, or?
Yeah, I take a lot of inspiration in the industry, inspiration from other companies and just history in general. Yeah. You know, everyone's got some sort of a repro of the Levi's, you know, 50s or so. This one's actually probably from 60s, but on pairs, like, you know, I'll take the thread as a design feature, and I'll mimic all the thread colors and details, even though it's a completely different look. Yeah. at least, you know, there's some sort of, you know, I think that those little details bring it together.
Those little historical aspects that really...
Exactly. And there's even things like the width of the stitch between the two needles, where I have the felling machines I was talking about before. I have one that's 9/32, one that's a 1/4 inch, and one that's just slightly a hair under, just, you know. And you can even tell by the two garments that this one is just slightly a hair. This one's a little bit smaller, but this one's double stitched, so I went over this one twice. It makes it look a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
But, you know, these are some of the fun details that I get to play with.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of interesting requests, and I try to be able to cater to everyone. There's obviously certain things I won't do, but, you know, majority of people will come in and they have very specific ideas. I want the, you know, 1941 Levi's 501, but can you do, instead of this arcuate, that? Or, you know, sure.
Sure.
Doable.
Sure thing. I mean, you like, based on some of these pieces, it looks like you can do anything, really. And if you go on your Instagram too, all of the things that you have up on there, it's insane, the work and detail that goes into these. Like here too, the different colored threads.
Exactly.
Love that.
Who would have thought to put green and orange together?
Yeah,
right?
but it works. It doesn't look crazy. And it looks beautiful. It looks subtly beautiful. Tell us a little bit about how you got here then. Like, you know, you're globally renowned, and I'm so lucky to be in the same city as you, actually. I mean, like, I've been wanting to come and get, you know, my own pair of custom jeans for a while, but I'd love to hear some of just, like, how you got here and you know, your story a little bit.
My dad's a tailor.
Okay.
And, you know, growing up, I never really wore tailored clothes. I mean, he made suits, so it was kind of just whatever. Mm-hmm. And I went through my skateboarding little, like, punk phase, and I wore ratty clothes and just, like, you know, low-rided or whatever. Yeah. And my dad would always be like, pull up your pants, you look like a bum, listen, you know, and...
A classic.
Yeah, and one day he told me, you know what, if you can make it, you can wear it, I don't care, you know? So I was like, all right, grabbed the keys, and I went. I went to Fabricland and bought some material. I went to Value Village and bought a pair of jeans that, like, just kind of worked. Yeah. Took them apart, laid the pieces on the new material, cut it out, and I made a disaster. But I was like, I did it, you know. And then from that day on, it was kind of like I'm just gonna try to one up myself every time, and it turned into a business. You know,
going against your parents, basically, is what. But yeah, it's really interesting for me to hear that. I love that story. I mean, it's very personal, and it kind of makes, I don't know, it kind of even like makes it even more special that, you know, this is your passion. It wasn't because of anyone else telling you to do anything. You're doing this because you truly love it, and like, it was something that was in you, maybe from the beginning, but you didn't know it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, first pair of jeans I made was 17 years ago.
Yeah, so that's insane. That's insane. So that was 17 years ago was that Value Village pair of jeans.
Yeah. Okay. I made I was like 16 years old, and I don't know. It's just it was fun. The second pair wasn't so good because my dad was like, okay, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna adjust a little bit here. We're gonna do this, do that. And then it came out looking like dress pants and denim. I was like, come on, you know? So...
The last thing I want to ask you, kind of, is just your experiences with being a denim tailor in Canada. Like, I know you do a lot. You source from Japan mostly. Yeah. I know you have some Vidalia rolls as well.
Canada is tricky because, especially in Toronto. Yeah. Wages are high, rent is high. Totally. I gotta be in a basement and, you know, put all my stuff on homemade shelves. But look, I'm having fun doing it, and it's going to take a lot of us to change the system, but maybe, you know, maybe. Yeah.
And you said it's coming, Canada, so it sounds like you're hopeful.
We're always coming, so yeah.
Sounds like you're hopeful that it will. And
I think so.
I think so too. It seems there's a good bunch of us here, actually, and with Kingpins Canada now airing, hopefully we're rallying the troops. So,
yeah. I noticed that, you know, living abroad for 10 years and traveling here and there, Canadians do things well. Yeah. So
the value of Made in Canada is definitely something.
Yeah. Worldwide, people like that. Made in Canada. Mm-hmm. So it's good.
Totally. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for walking us through your studio and taking us through some of like the process of making your own brand and being a denim tailor, because your work is very impressive. And I honestly, one day maybe we'll do a follow-up of my dad getting his pair of jeans.
Deal.
So, yeah.
Always.
But yeah, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next segment.
See you next time.